Hi there, in this behind the scenes video, I want to talk a little bit about beaches and the types of beaches that I record at. This might seem really obvious or kind of overthinking it, but actually the type of beaches that I try and record at essentially for these videos, for when you're listening to them when you're trying to sleep and when you're trying to relax, the type of beach is really important. When I started this channel, I would often focus on beaches that were really long, kind of leading lines of huge waves like this that you can see here. So there's like this really long leading line of waves. It's a really big beach, and you've got essentially lots of white water, lots of waves kind of breaking at the same time, which you can see here. You've kind of got like a little bit of waves breaking here, and then one line here, and then another line, and then another line, and it's a very big beach. That looks really nice visually, but the issue with that is it's not typically as relaxing to sleep to, because what will happen when you're recording is you can't really pick up many individual waves because it's such a big beach, because the beach is quite flat. You're going to end up just recording pretty much a wall of noise. It's just a roar of the ocean. And there are some videos that I've made like this where they look really nice, and the kind of the roar of the ocean, that kind of distant noise, is really soothing still. But there's a different characteristic of different recordings, and a lot of people prefer a bit more of a rhythmical crash of the wave and then a lull, and then another crash and then a lull. So I can show you this. Essentially, we've got this really, really big beach here, which I was mentioning about, and it's also really flat. And then here we've got this beach where it's hard to see, but it's a lot steeper. This first bit is kind of hard to see from the angle, but this beach is a lot steeper. And if I press play, you'll see that there's a crash of a wave, and then it washes onto the beach, and then there's nothing. There's no extra waves breaking. There's nothing in the background here until there's a little bit, and then the next wave now comes here and crashes on the beach. So these different types of beaches give incredibly different types of sound and types of the track for when you're sleeping or you're listening to them. And to show you that, I've got these sounds essentially opened up in this audio program, and you can see here. So this sound file is from the first example that I gave you, and you can kind of see basically the brightness represents the intensity, and you can kind of see it's just constant across. If you go left to right, that's across the time of the recording, and it's kind of just constant. Similar intensity all the way through the recording, not many peaks and troughs. But if you go to the other one, you can clearly see now this is the steeper recording of the steeper beach, and it's a smaller beach as well. You can see there's these peaks. It's bright and then it's dark, and then it's bright and then it's dark, and you can see this represents when the wave crashes is this bright area here, and then there's the lull in between. So this gives a nice crash, rest, and then a lull, and then the next wave breaks. So it's really interesting for me to see these on the audio files and then compare them to when I've recorded, because obviously they're very different characteristics. Some people might like one or the other, but it's just another thing to consider and something I take into account when I'm going to a beach to record, or when I'm selecting the location or the framing and this kind of thing, because really, depending on the feeling you want to get across in the video, maybe you do want a large roar of the beach. In that case, you would want a larger beach and a flatter beach. Or maybe you want a relaxing kind of tropical small wave where it crashes onto the beach and then it's calm and then nothing. And in that case, you would want to go to a smaller, steeper beach. So these are just things to consider, and something I wanted to kind of show you behind the scenes today, because I think maybe when you first look at the channel, you might think, oh, you just grab a camera, go to a beach, hit record, and then upload it to YouTube. But there's quite a lot more that goes into it than that, and there's quite a lot of consideration for the types of beaches, where you're recording, removing sounds from the recordings and stuff like that, which I'll show you in a future video. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So hopefully that was interesting, and I'll see you in the next video.